Hey, hi everyone. My name is Yash. Today I welcome you back to my YouTube channel Crazy Cloud. This is the 14th video of LWC learning series, and in this video we'll be discussing about how to communicate from child to parent component in LWC. So in the previous video we have discussed that how to communicate from parent to child, and in this video we will discuss about how to communicate from child to parent in LWC. So without getting any delay, let's get started. So in the previous video we have discussed suppose this is our parent component and this is our child component. So in the previous video we saw that how to pass the data from parent to child. To pass the data from parent to child, we need to create some at the rate API variables, or we need to annotate the variables and the methods of child component with at the rate API decorator, and then we can use these variables into our parent component directly. But in order to pass the data from child to parent, we need to create some custom events, and then we need to store what we need to pass. We just store the data into the custom event, and then we dispatch the event to the into the parent component. So this is how it works. So let's see practically how can we create the custom events and everything. So in the last video we have created these two components, parent and the child component. Today what the example we'll take is we'll just create one input box into the child component and pass the data of the input box to the parent component. Correct. So let's create one lightning input lightning input into our child component. The label should be message for parent. On change, I'll be calling handle change, and nothing else will require. And here in the JavaScript of child component, I'll just use handle change method. And okay, now in the parent component, we will just receive the data from the child component. So here first I need to fetch the value of the input box. To fetch the value from the input box, let's create one variable here, value for parent. To fetch the data, whatever user is typing into the input box, we need to use the events. So value for parent equals to event dot detail dot value, and event we need to pass as a parameter. Now whatever user types into the input box will get the value into this value for parent, right? And now this value for parent variable I need to pass to the parent component. Correct. So what we have done till now is in the child component, this is the child component. In the child component we have created one input box, and whatever user types into this input box, we are just storing that value into value for parent variable. And now this value for parent variable should be passed to the parent component. This is our parent component. To pass the data from child to parent, we need to create some custom events. Correct. So let's see how to create custom events. So suppose here I'm just const ce custom event equals to new custom event. Correct. And in new custom event I'll just name this custom event as my event. You can name anything. So basically we need to give a name to the custom event, so that using this name parent can handle this event, right? my event, and in this my event, what I'll do is I'll just type detail, and in this detail we'll use a JSON, and in this JSON, suppose value should be our value for parent, correct. Let's see what is this error. Okay, so here we are making a mistake. So after declaring the name in the custom event parameters, what we need to do is we need to create a JSON, right? And into this JSON, we need to pass key value pairs. So suppose I'm just using detail only into the key, and in this value again I'm using one JSON, and again the JSON value should be value, and what value we need to give it? It is value for parent, right? Value for parent. This is how we create the custom event. So this is not a rocket science to understand this JSON. What we have done is we just have created one custom event with new custom event constructor, and then it generally takes two parameter. One is the name, simple name in the string format, name of the custom event, and another one it is a JSON. Whatever JSON or whatever data you want to pass, create a JSON and then pass it. This JSON, so basically this JSON detail and value, this basically it looks like this, correct. JSON and then detail is the key, correct. And in the value of detail, again we are having a JSON, and then we have value, and we are passing this dot value for parent, this dot value for parent. I hope you are able to understand. If not, then you can always ping me on LinkedIn. Now we have created one custom event. Now we need to pass this custom event, or let's say we need to dispatch this custom event to the parent component. So how to dispatch this custom event? This dot dispatch event, and whatever event you need to dispatch, just name it CE, right. Let's deploy this component. Again, let's deploy it. Okay, so now we have created one custom event in the child component. Suppose this is child, this is parent. We have created one custom event in the child component, and this custom event basically stores the data, whatever data we are trying to pass to the parent component. Now we need to dispatch this event to the parent component. This is our parent component, and this is our child component, correct. So we have named this event as my my event, right. Let's keep it small only, otherwise we need to replace the capital character with the small and hyphen, correct. Now the parent got this event, but what we need to we need to describe that onto receiving of this event, because see, child component can pass any number of custom events, right. Suppose my event 1, then my event 2, then my event 3. So we need to describe that onto the parent side. We need to describe that onto this my event 1 what it should do, on receiving of this my 2 what it should do, on receiving of this my 3 what it should do, right. So in the child markup of the parent component, we need to use one on keyword with the event name on my event. So whatever event name you have used, just on before this and on my event, which means on to receiving of this my event component, my event custom event, the parent component method should get called. Let's say I have created one method handle event, correct, in the parent JavaScript. So on receiving of this my event, I need to call this handle event method, correct. So into the child markup of the parent component here, we just need to use on and the name of the event. Name of the event was my event, right? So on my event, I'll be calling handle event method in parent component. Let's create handle event component, handle event method, right? And again it will take a parameter of event. Now this event consists of this JSON, right? So now we are having this value into the event. To access the exact value, what we need to do is event dot detail and then dot value, correct. This way we will access this dot value for parent, right. So here in the parent side JavaScript, just log, or let's say, oh shit, or let's say create one variable value from child, and value from child equals to event dot detail dot value. Why event dot detail dot value? Because event is having this complete value, and to access this value for parent we need to go like event dot detail and then dot value, and then we'll have this value for parent, right. Event dot detail dot value. Now just use this variable inside our parent component, value from child, this way, right. Deploy this code. And let's refresh this page. Okay, so whenever we will type something in the child components, this is this input box is of the child component, right. So suppose if I type Yash here, what it will do, it will just capture the value inside this variable value for parent. Whatever we type, suppose we type Yash, so value for parent value should be Yash. Then it will create one custom event, and the name of the custom event would be my event, and it will pass the value inside this detail and then value, and the value should be Yash. Then we'll just dispatch this event. Which event? My event. Now into the parent side, we see that on my event, on to the receiving of my event, we are just calling this handle event method, and this handle event method is, you know, just assigning the value inside this value from child, correct. So let's type YASH. You see, we are receiving this input here, correct. Let's say crazy cloud. See, this is how we communicate from child to parent. So always remember that in LWC we have three types of communication. One is parent to child. Just a second. This is child. Another one is child to parent. So in the previous video we have seen that how to communicate from parent to child. To communicate from parent to child, we need to create some at the rate API variables or methods into the child component. But to communicate from child to parent, we need to use custom event. Correct? So this is how the communication between two related component works in LWC. In the next video, we will discuss about two independent component, how to communicate from between two independent components in LWC. So until then, keep practicing, and if you have any doubt or any question regarding this video or anything in LWC, you can always ping me on LinkedIn.